everyone. In today's video, we're going to be going back and taking a look at nuclearies and see what they have changed in the last year or so. One of the things I did is I played around with all the different modes and kind of the different scenarios and stuff. But for the purposes of today's video, we're actually going to take a look at their step-by-step reactor start. Now, the reason I like this is it's going to kind of get you to know the level of complexity that is still involved in this game, as well as seeing some of the new things that have come out as well. All right, up and running. Let's do it. So in the old days, when this game first came out, these screens were very much simplified, and there's a lot less stuff going on. But as you could see, there's a lot more going on here. And the interesting thing too is if you actually look down at the reactor itself, there's a lot more room in here, and there's actually a whole extra room in here and an extra room over there as well. And it's really impressive to kind of see how this has sort of changed. One of the things we still do not have, for those of you curious about this one, is we don't have multiplayer quite the way it was when it first came out. It was sort of one of those things that is like kind of, we'll just do it and not kind of worry about it. And then, of course, it kind of went by the wayside. And it was always pretty wild to try to do some of these operations when you were doing it with a buddy, kind of a thing like that. Now, of course, what do I know about nuclear reactors? I know the concept. Of course, I'm more of a BWR guy than a PWR guy, but what difference does it really make? I appreciate the fact the switches don't have any animations. That makes me feel a little bit better. All right, let's do it. So let's see, we're going to activate the power plant's connection to the external grid. That's relatively easy. Go ahead and power on the external power. We have that now instead of relying on our diesel generator. Makes me feel a little bit better. What I really want to do is put this on automatic just in case I goof up something. All right, let's take a look here. So the next thing what they're going to want us to do is they're going to want us to go ahead and get the pressurizer working here. I love the fact there's a thermostat on this. So we didn't used to have this in the old versions. Basically, this is a pressurized water reactor. The super short version is we use pressurized water, basically almost two different coolant loops for the purposes of generating our steam, as well as kind of isolating sort of the business water from the getting the steam made water. Now, that makes it a little bit safer. So they're asking us to go ahead and pressurize this thing to 150. I'm going to go ahead and speed up time here. For those of you who like to follow along, that's number 3 there on the keyboard. You can see in the upper left corner there. We're kind of cruising around pretty fast. You can also press the T button. If you really want to rip, you can go ahead and pop that one on just like that. Stop at new alarm. I appreciate that kind of a thing like that. It's all good. It's all good. So what we're doing here is we're building up pressure in the pressurizer itself. If I actually would have flowed over here, I can show you the pressurizer. Yep. Bonk. Right there. Fantastic. And once we have enough pressure in this thing, basically we can start actually getting everybody else in action. One of the things I find kind of interesting that kind of kills me a little is the fact that if you take a look here, our water level has actually come down a little bit as it pressurized, then it's kind of restabilized. It's going to go back down again, but that's something we can deal with a little later on. So what we do next, of course, is we get our coolant system operational. We're going to go ahead and pop on the pump like that. We're going to pop it up to medium speed. Veterans of this game would put this to 49, but for us, like I said, it's not really that big of a deal. The key thing here is that we get this going. Remember, we're basically going to be circulating this coolant around the reactor core itself, and then we're going to use that with a secondary loop, which will be over here, to actually, like I said, do the deed of generating the power, which is pretty cool stuff. So it's asking us to kick it up to 50%, I should say. We'll give it a few moments here. And click. I think that should be just enough. There it is. Delightful. So the primary circulation stabilized. Let's get the cooling circuit pump to the condenser. The condenser is much more complicated than it used to be here. You'll observe, for example, that we have our secondary circuit coolant flow speed, and we have our coolant circuit coolant flow speed. Are you confused yet? Let's go ahead and now pop this sucker around real quick if I can get my head in the correct position. There we go. And we'll pop that to the medium position, and that should be pretty good for us. Let's see, coolant circuit. We can go pop up here real quick. Again, this is our condenser. And you can take a look here that we've got that one operational, and it's starting to kind of kick its thing out and do it. One of the things I find is they created this lovely thing here. Let me go ahead and show it to you right here. It says retention tank valve vent. There is a physical valve for it, but you have to go outside to get to it. There's no button for it, which is kind of disappointing. All right, that sucker's opened up nicely. That's going to go ahead and kind of get to its speed. Like I said, it takes a few minutes for that to actually get up to speed here. Let's see, 40, 41, 42, 43, 49, and 50%. That should be good. We're going to get a change message here. Delightful. Begin by preparing the condenser vacuum system. First, open the steam turbine bypass valve. That's over here. The bypass valve, for those of you who have not seen it before, basically allows you to skip the generation of electricity, and basically goes straight to the condenser. This is a fabulous way to basically go ahead and build up steam or to reduce the load on your resistors, which in this game at least recently, they've really tweaked the way the resistor stuff works. It's a lot safer than it used to be. You could really blow things up in the old days. You still can, but I feel like it just takes a little more effort. All right, let's go ahead and get this sucker good. And again, this is going to be sending some of that steam over to our lovely, lovely device, our condenser, to basically build a vacuum. So what you're going to see here is as this basically spins up, it's going to be bypassing the steam for that purpose. It's actually kind of neat how that works. All right, there we go. I'm just going to make sure that's closed, which it is. This valve would be this one. If you have a situation where you're building up too much water in your retention tank, which is going to affect your vacuum, one of the things you can do is you can basically open up the bypass, and it's going to kind of let the party sort of go back the other way. I'm sorry, the condenser valve. All right, let's see here. I'll start by opening up that directly. We've gotten that. Open this startup inlet valve, which we've done. Make sure that valve is completely closed, which it is. We've done a nice job of that, and that is looking pretty good. All right, let's take a look here. That looks good to me. Good. We now have to ask the city if we can turn on the power. Let's go give them a ring real fast. We would love to start operations. I love the fact I'm calling for the start operations like this early in the process. Like, I don't even have fuel in the core yet. Like, that blows my mind. Like, I haven't started heating things up. It's just kind of one of those things. Appreciate the notifications. What do they say? We've received it. We're going to let you guys know soon. Okay, sounds good to me. Meanwhile, now that everything's kind of in the startup position, again, this is kind of a rough way to do it. They're going to give us permission. We can start at 10. It is 9:52. There's no way we're going to get electricity in that amount of time. Go ahead and pop on our resistors. They basically soak up excess electricity we produce. And again, this is pretty easy to do. And now we just have to load up some fuel and start the party. Come over to operation. We're going to snap that into a nominal mode. We're going to come over here. We're going to load fuel. And if you can take a look here, I like this new display. This is sweet. There it goes. You guys do this. We can see the hatch is closed. And if I take a look at the fuel temperature, it's nice and cold. And now we're ready to start the reactor. Crack those knuckles. Let's do it. 93%, huh? Let's try 92.7%. What? 92.7? Okay, 93. Maybe it's like something like being mean to me here. 93. Enter? You gonna do that for me? Yeah, you'll do that for me. All right, actually like 92.7. Long story. All right, set. There we go. Fantastic. So what you're going to see now is, unfortunately, I don't need this. Hey. All right. We're going to miss the big when the whole thing bubbles. Yeah, there goes the bubbling. Nice. So now we can go ahead and get this done. They say we have to do 93%. All right, fine. Fine. I'll let you have your way. There it goes. Oh, man. Guess that's healthy. That's real healthy. Oh, they won't let you do it after you set it. Oh, you're no fun. All right, so now we need to get the evaporator up to pressure here. This is going to take a hot second here. And again, because of the way this works, again, you take the hot steam, you feed it in, you suck some of the energy out of it, and then basically you have to both condense it as well as kind of dry it. Is the best way to kind of consider it. It's just kind of weird how that works, sort of a thing like that. And again, we haven't even fired up the secondary coolant yet. We will shortly. Like I said, it's not that big of a deal. So I'm going to go ahead and press the 3 key there to kind of get the party started a little bit faster. You can see our temperature is going to come up. Obviously, you need to start boiling water if you're actually going to get any pressure, and that will come up real fast. But what I really want to do is I want to come over to the pressurizer here. One of the things you'll notice that they're not telling us is the fact that our pressurizer level is significantly lower. If we were playing finger quote, single player, if that makes any sense to you, we would have designed it so that we filled it at that point. But that's okay. We'll go ahead and start this thing to medium. This one, if you want to think about it another way, is basically what's going to be controlling this party. And again, if you can fiddle with this, you won't have any issues with it. And again, we have our coolant circuit coolant flow speed, and then we have our secondary circuit coolant flow speed. Like I said, don't get confused, because they usually name things differently. All right, let's take a look at what we have here. So the pressurizer is, again, we have the thermostat on. Theoretically, it should be holding 160. Why am I looking at the wrong screen? There we go. Much better. So a little over 160, honestly. The heating power is off. Again, our fill level is a little low here, and that's definitely going to have a huge point in that. Coming to the reactor itself, we're at 222, so we're making steam, which is good news. And then, of course, what'll start happening here, which is really wild. I got to see, what do we have for RPM here? Let's see, we do not have it. Oh, that's right, we're bypassing. I forgot about that. If you remember, we're bypassing our turbines right here, so we're not going to see any power production. Basically, we're getting the condenser set up. And then you can see very quickly here, I wish I could just hit the button on that one, but it's disabled. I would like to get this thing started sooner rather than later, but it's just kind of the way they do it. All right. So again, we got the starter valve, starter pressure going here. We've got that sucker open up all the way to kind of start the process here. Vacuum pump isn't even running, so we're basically bypassing everything right now. Just trying to get everything kind of moving. All right. So let's see here. We need to get this to 50. There we go. Circuit is complete. The core heats the coolant. The main pump transfers the heat to the evaporator, where pressurized steam is generated. The steam then travels to the condenser, where it is cooled and condensed, and finally sent back to the evaporator. Proceed when ready. Fabulous. Now, just like I said before, it is creating a vacuum, but it's not enough. Turn on the vacuum pump to boost the ejector's capacity, but only once the retention tank hits 50%. So I can go ahead and press 2 here, and you can see that this slowly will start to build as, again, this stuff starts to come through. Steam is entering. Looks good. Looks good. And again, we have this is all in startup steam right now, and it's going to take a hot second for any of this really to kick in. Even though our steam generator is producing steam, you can see it's not producing a lot of steam. Again, part of the fun. There we go. Temperature actually flows pretty good. The steam generator itself is going to come down. This kills me a little that the flow level is this low. I would have filled it back up already. That's okay, though. All right, so we're keeping an eye on it. It'll just start to flow up. There it goes. So you can see we're getting motive steam flow rate. That's great. We control that with this guy right here. And you can see once you get it to a certain amount, you really don't have to fiddle with it that much. But we can't do anything until that tank is basically half full. And again, if we need to fill the tank in a hurry, we have this. If we need to empty it, we can use this. And there is this valve, like I said, we have to go hunting down there to get to it. So I don't like to leave the control room, if that makes any sense when I do this. Otherwise, like I say, bad things happen when you're away, so to speak. But one thing I do want to check while I'm at it, let's see here. We are at 284. Like I said, we're going for about 360 is kind of the sweet spot here. So I'm actually going to pull this. It's disabled. You're no fun. I'm like running the reactor, and they're like, you need to do this. I'm like, but I can do this first. Fills me with a sigh. All right, so we're looking for 50% here. All right, that should be just about fill. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and pop on that. Boop. Turn on the vacuum pump. It's going to be in startup mode here, and that can start to kind of start the party here. Takes a few moments, though. The vacuum pump relies on retention tank to maintain vacuum pressure. If the tank is empty, you got problems. We're not going to have a problem with that. That's a non-issue. Honestly, you're going to have an issue having too much stuff in the retention tank. Condenser is you may now redirect the steam flow towards the turbines. Move forward when you are ready. All right, we got a lot of stuff to do here. First of all, I'm going to crack that closed. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack this. We don't need it anymore. The retention tank is completely filled up, so we can just pop this all the way down to 0. There we go. Much better. We're going to go ahead and take this one here. We'll pop that one up to 30. Like I said, you can actually go pretty high in that one. And there we go. And again, that's going to control the motive steam rate. So we've already popped it into operational mode. Delightful. Now it's time to actually shut off the bypass. So we're no longer skipping the turbines. Some of the steam will start entering the turbines. That means the turbines are going to start turning. That means we're going to start producing electricity. One of the things you got to watch out is remember that this is kind of, in the old days, if you don't have resistors, this is how you stop from blowing things up. All right, synchroscope time. Oh, this is painful. So if you look up here, you can see, let me slow down time a little bit here. So if you take a look here, this is the RPM of the turbine. This is our current voltage. That is our hertz. And of course, we have no amperage because we're not producing any electricity with it. Now, what they do is they have to make you do it kind of the sort of the old-fashioned way, where you have to basically fiddle with the RPM controls and kind of get it. Like there's no automatic engagement. Basically, what you're trying to do is you're trying to take the generators, which are turning at one phase. Again, if you want to think about electricity for a second here, you have flow and you have pressure. This is me with my hands. You can't see them. And obviously, the flow doesn't always line up with the pressure. It's not an even connection. And that angle between the two is basically the phase of that. And that's a wasted power, number one. But number two, that phase, as well as that pressure and amperage and all that good stuff, might not be in phase with the city. The city itself is running at 50 hertz here, as you can see. We're running at 5.3. You can't, in good conscience here, produce electricity at a different rate. Again, everything's out of phase, and you basically cause all sorts of fun problems with it. Now, one of the interesting things I find with this, like I said, this isn't automatic. Normally, these things would be very automatic. Well, let's be realistic. You wouldn't have a game if you made things realistic in this game. All right, so one of the things I can see here is my generator is producing plenty. I think it don't even need that much. I think they're asking for what? 12.6 megawatts? That's nothing. You'll see here that we're already producing, we're at 12 now. Actually, our bus is at 12. I'm sure this is the city. This is what they're asking for. You can see we're at about 7,300, so we're doing fine. What I do want to do is go take a look at this real quick. Why won't you let me set this higher? Let me do it. Let me do it. Especially since we're producing power now. And we'll do 92.2. Click. That's better. That'll get a little bit more temperature rolling there. All right. Let's see here. We need a little more thermal energy. If you're running your plant outside of its ideal range, you're basically wasting energy. And again, the fuel isn't free. We got to pay for that. So, all right. It is 1317. It is 22, which looks good. Good time to go take a look at the condensers. The retention tank is doing an awful job right now. It doesn't surprise me. There's nothing new there. Let's see. This is actually fine. Secondary's fine. We'd be producing plenty of steam here. We can actually crank this up quite... it's disabled. Folks, let me do it. Let me do it. Like I said, they just won't let you do it. All right, we'll get a little bit closer to synchronization here. All right, we are getting very, 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 very close here. So we're at 49.8. If you look at the synchroscope here, you'll see that we are still running a little slow. So this is a little bit of a pain in the butt, because basically what you're going to have to do is you have to click it one at a time. So you can see here, 137, 38. There we go. We're going to increase this. So if you see this guy, we're going to go a little fast, and then we're going to basically lower the RPM so we're exactly in the correct RPM when we get to that green dot, because then the phase is more or less correct. Nice. So that's set. So what we can do now is we can go ahead and close... What do you mean we can't close the breaker? What? Double check the power reactor. Hey, there it is. Thank you. I know what I'm doing with that. Click. Is all I have to say. There we go. So our plant's producing 48 megawatts. The city is requesting 10 megawatts, which means an enormous amount of our electricity is being wasted right now. Basically, it's just throwing it out. I would say overboard, but that's essentially not what we're doing here. And that could still be a little bit better. And again, we have to fiddle with everything. So this is when they hand it back off to you and say, figure it out. So I like that. I can work with that well. And a couple things we know right away. First of all, we have very low retention. We have very low motive steam rate. This is just not pulling its weight here. Let's go ahead and get that going a little bit. Again, we can crank this all the way up to 100% if we wanted to. So that's much better. The other thing we have the problem with is, again, we're producing almost 5 times more than we need. So what we'll do is we'll actually open up the bypass valve here, and we'll crack this open to basically reduce the amount of gas or steam, if you want to think about it, that's going there. And you'll notice our generator is going to drop in power very rapidly. You're also going to notice our resistor bank is going to take a deep breath and go, thank you so much for not blowing us all to pieces. Trust me, I've done that before. All right, our motive steam flow rate is about 60, which is good. So that's almost exactly what we want. So that's fine. That's the bottom. We don't have a lot in the retention tank, which means our vacuum is going to suffer. But you can see we're at 99 right now, which is awesome. So don't touch it. It's one of those things I learned about racing is don't touch the thing. You're going to make a mistake with it. So, of course, everything's smooth. We're looking good. This is not bad. This is not bad at all. I'm still a little disappointed that we're a little cool here. Again, 360 is kind of optimum if you want to kind of think about it another way. But I'm not complaining. Like I said, I like the way that they did this. Like, they got the little engine here, too, in the event of an absolute emergency. I like what they did with this. This is kind of cool, too. Check for any alarms. Like I said, there really shouldn't be any alarms up top here. Let's see here. That's good to go. As you can see, that is really, really hot. That makes sense. It's 311 degrees. Duh. So now what we like to do, too, is this is kind of like the tuning phase. This is like once it's stable, you can kind of fiddle with it a little bit. So we're doing 36 megawatts, but we're also bypassing a quarter. So if I were to drag this down to, let's say, 40% bypass, let's go ahead and open that up a little bit. You'll see here that our power will go down substantially. We're down to like 32 megawatts here because a lot of that steam is, like I said, it's just not going in the turbine anymore. But notice it's not causing any issues. We're still double. Our resistors are in great shape. We're not going to wear those out. Trust me on that. You do not want to wear those out. And it's looking pretty good. Like I said, I don't even have to play with this. This stuff's pretty good. Swinging over on this side, everything's in the green. Obviously, we could kick this up a little bit more if we really, really wanted to extract a little tiny bit more pressure out of it. But that's okay. Flow speed's fine. Cooling circuits, again, this is for our lovely evaporator and condenser. It's fine. There's really no danger here. If we wanted to bring that down a little bit, we could crank that up. Well, like I said, it's a non-issue. Vacuum pump, all this stuff, it's okay. I wish this was a little higher. And what we could do is actually open up the steam ejector a little bit and basically feed a little tiny bit in there to kind of boost it up if we wanted. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. You don't need a lot. Like I said, a little bit of that, and that's this valve here. And you can see it's turned yellow. What's going to happen is this is going to slowly start rising, as you can see very clearly. All right, retention tank is looking good. One thing I do want to check is my P's and T's, so to speak, pressures and temperatures. That looks good. Pressure's good. Vacuum's good. Fill levels extremely low for the condenser. Uh-oh. Easy to fix. Easy to fix. I'm going to close that up, and then we're going to go ahead to the feed water, and we're going to fill it back up. There we go. Now, one of the things you got to know is that when you start filling this, two things. First of all, the valve takes time to empty. So when I did crank that valve open, it's going to take a little while to hit it. The other problem we're going to have is because we're chucking all this cold water onto the system, we're going to have a power drop because, again, all that nice, beautiful water in there is going and basically coming down real fast. The other thing you're going to notice, too, is this is going to start creeping because of the fact that we've got all that extra kind of flow going on in there as well. The other thing we can check, too, while we're at it is the pressurizer. And I can see the pressurizer is actually very close to optimum right now. We can put a blast of water in there. But again, when you put a blast of water in there, it affects that and it affects that. So we just have to kind of keep that in mind as well. The pressurizer, yeah, we definitely want to put some stuff in the pressurizer when we get a chance. But like I said, I want to get the condenser kind of taken care of. They really made the condenser more complicated than I remember. Not that it's like bad or anything like that, but it's definitely a little more complex than it used to be. Go ahead and close that. That's fine. Let's go run over here. The pressurizer needs a tap of water. And I mean tap means open it and then close it. Let's see, vent valve is in. Here we go. Click. You can just tap it like that. Stare at it for a second. That's enough. That's enough. Again, you just need to crack that sucker for a second. And as you can see there, it's about 52. I think that puts us in the green on this side of things. Yeah, the pressurizer is now green. I appreciate the green lights too because it makes it more obvious what's working. All right, that is good. In and out temperature is good. You can kind of tell that things are working okay because if your in temperature is like 600 and your out temperature is 300, you're doing a lot of work. If your in temperatures like this and your out temperatures like this, you're really only sucking that much energy out of the actual steam that's going into it. So that's just kind of a way to look at it. And I appreciate the fact that they have new indicators for that as well. And just like I promised, the motive steam rate came down. I hate it when it does that. Okay, get going, my friend. As I like to joke, I'm not paying for it. The joke is we actually still have 100% efficiency on vacuum. So, like, you could fiddle with these knobs all you want. It doesn't change the fact that it's still doing its job perfectly. So, like, not that big a deal. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our last couple items here. Fill level's basically perfect here. Pressure is good. Relief tank pressure is good. Pressure is, like I said, delightful. So that is completely all set. I'll set this back to the 0 level. That's good. Theoretically, we could, like, fiddle with this manually a little bit because right now, actually, the pressure is more or less perfect. So we could pop the heating pressure on for like a second if we needed to. Actually, one of the things we should do is we should shut off the energy from the city. We don't need that anymore. Probably pop the generator on that mode real quick. Batteries, if they're automatic, if we need them. It's still a little cold. Not bad, but it is still a little cold. All right, so let's take a look here. We're just going to take a peek to make sure everybody's behaving. Yeah, basically perfect. Nice. This is nice. We are good to go. All right, let me do my final comments here. So obviously, like I said, I named this video, is it still worth playing in this time? That was the little tutorial. Oh, I see a warning light. Pressurizer high pressure. Why is the pressurizer high pressure? It's supposed to be on automatic. All right, it takes about half a second to fix. Nice. Huh. So probably kicked on the thermostat like right as I walked away, kind of a thing like that. So it's a little high. Folks, you have a thermostat. You're supposed to be doing things. Like, what was that? Oh, whatever. But other things, like I said, this video is entitled What Did They Change kind of thing. Or not what did they change, like what's new and stuff like that. And I just want to take a quick little walk here now that the reactor is more or less stable. Not that, like I said, I like to walk away from it when it's cooking. Literally. But I understand they did a couple cool things here. Open. Open, says me. Open, says me. There we go. One of the things they did add, of course, is the chemical module we've had for a while. I'm not going to show a video on that one. The chemical module, it's almost not worth the complexity that kind of goes with it, but that's okay. But apparently, one of the new things we have is a generator shed, which is so cool. You can actually come over here. I think I can open up the button real fast. You know, the generators are now in here versus on the roof, which is a little annoying because it's like, you know, like when it was on the roof, you just had to go upstairs. Now I have to basically take a hike to get to it. We've got your cooling tower. You've got all your kind of imports, your freight and stuff like that. Everything looks really, really, like I said, kind of what I remembered it kind of being. One thing I am very curious about, though, is what's going on in here. We have nuclear sponsors. I like that. That's cool. I guess they have a little special stuff in here or something like that. Let's go hit up the reactor itself. One of the things I was reading is they improved the crane quite a bit, so I kind of want to check that out. Got to go find a crane. It's so weird with all these missing bits. Like, a lot of times you have all sorts of other toys in here, but, like, at this level, when you're first starting, you basically have nothing. I also like how you get free points for that. It's like, good to know I get free points for doing my job. All right, let's have a little bit of fun here while we're waiting. Again, I wouldn't want to be walking around in here when everything's running, but, whoa. That's a little hot. What's the deal with that? I'm just going to walk right by that and pretend that it's not going to kill us all in 2 minutes. All right, let's go and head on up. They got rid of the sideways running thing, which I loved so much from last time. Ah, ah, ah. Guess I have to go get it from the other side now. Can I, like, do this careful? Oh, that's so much better. Oh, that's so much better. I'm glad they did it that way. It was a little dangerous on ladders in the past. Yeah, oh, I like that. I like that a lot better. All right, let's go run in here. This is, like, the most dangerous room in the house. Oh, what's this? We have a basement now? Why did we get a basement? Oh, my goodness. We got to see what's down here. Oh, it goes down further. Core maintenance room. Hydraulic piston down. So we can open the core gates. Bonk. I was going to say it's not even going to let me open that door. Yeah. That's cool. I got to play with that later. And I'll start going a little bit lower. So this is a core access. So oh, man, you can go even lower? This is so cool. When did they add this? Rod engine room. Ah, there we go. Let's go ahead and push the button on that one. You gonna work for me, door? Oh, look at those doors. That's awesome. Oh, this is so nice. The rod engine room's down here now. Oh, that's so much better. Again, this would be the tools for basically adjusting your control rods. This is crazy. Oh, there's like the emergency rod control group and everything. How safe do I feel right now? Like, I feel like I'm getting Geiger countered. I'm fine. Not that many rot gens per hour. Looking pretty good. I don't know. I feel like I gotta go back and mess with this some more. One of the things you do is if you open it, you gotta close it. All right, I'm gonna run back upstairs. Hey, look what I found. This is the fuel storage room. So one of the things I remember too. Oh, look at that. That's ready to be used in the event that we need it. Cool. I'm going up. And then we'll give it a praise. I want to see if it is true that the crane is any better than it used to be. Not that there's anything we can crane, but there's not stopping us from like goofing around with it a little bit here. All right, look at the size of this thing. Ooh, oh, you have to press E now. I like that. Oh, that's better. That's better. That's better. I like that. I like how there's a little laser guide now. Is there like a view change? There's a little gripper. It's like a thing I can see. Oh, is it in front of me? Go like that. Must be, like I would say, the gripper would be behind me, I would expect. Oh, that's a little strange. I'm a little low on the floor here. Open and close. WASDA with a laser guide. Ah, there's a camera now. Oh, I see what they did. Oh, that's much better. Oh, that's much better. I think I'm stuck on the wall already. Oh, there's like a view for that too. Oh, this is so cool. Oh, man, that is neat. That is neat. Can I press X to exit? Yes. Nice. And watch this. Watch this. You can still take damage. All right. What a neat game. Looks like they've definitely had some fun with this. I'll have to fiddle around with this. If there's enough interest, I could probably put together a series on this one, especially like the chemical treatment stuff. That's almost not worth it. Again, you have teams and automation to help with a lot of those things. But, hey, we're going to work with what we got. Enjoy.